Now, here's the hosts of Top Story, KLIXcast and Jill Skeen.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Top Story, 7360300. Always the number to call, and good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Kelly.
So nice to see you again.
Oh, it's always nice to see you.
I can tell.
Soon I won't see you anymore, and then I'll be like, where's my Kelly?
No, we'll still do lunch. Remember,
we'll do
lunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get you out of your ham radio basement.
Yeah,
we'll have to get an evacuation order for lunch.
Yes, that could be.
Could someone please get Kelly out of his basement? 911.
Well, anyway, hey, good morning. We have Steve Millington coming in this morning from the Twin Falls Republicans. Now, Steve has been gone for a couple of weeks, but he's back today.
He's back.
And he's in rare fighting form, Jill, so watch out. He's ready to go.
Why can't I have a nice, calm day, please? Why can't I have one enjoyable, nice, calm day?
You can.
Really?
Just sit back and relax and don't talk.
I'll just leave, have some coffee, come back.
There you go.
Steve, what did you say? Okay.
Then at 9 o'clock, we're going to be talking to the folks from Consumer Credit Management Services. Now, you think, why is that significant? Well, this is the time of year that everybody starts filling up their credit cards. Ooh. And then after the shopping season, then start coming the bills. So they can tell you, they can give you some hints, some tips on how to avoid going bankrupt from the holiday season, all right?
I know.
So, and how you can get help on fixing your credit.
People shouldn't. I mean, I honestly am surprised at how much people buy for Christmas. Coming from a holiday like Hanukkah, where your gift could maybe be socks or underwear, you get like one gift from your parents. It's not 8 presents. I mean, you might have one from your aunt. You might have one from your sister. Some nights you don't have one. But, I'm always amazed when I go to Christmas. I go to our in-law, Tom's sister, her kids, what they gave their kids, it was so much the kids were tired of opening packages. I mean, I could not believe it. And I thought, this isn't what this holiday's about.
I agree 1,000%.
So
Jill.
for anyone to go, beyond their means for this holiday is insane.
Okay, he's coming in behind you. Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Jeez, oh man. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like that just doesn't seem.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was thinking about this yesterday. How when I was growing up, I got some nice things for Christmas, but nothing was hugely expensive, but nowadays about all you can get your kids, unless you buy them socks or something like that. Now everybody wants the iPads. They want these several $100 things per kid. And
Well, that's what kids want. They want the latest thing. No matter what generation it was, they always wanted the best this, the best that. But the quantity is unbelievable. The quantity.
Yeah, I agree. Rather than one nice present anymore.
I'm in shock. Seriously, that one really blows my mind every time. And I've gone to many people's homes for Christmas, and I'm shocked at how much.
I couldn't agree more.
So anyway, so the point is, don't do that. But if you do, we have people coming in who are going to help you at 9 o'clock. If you've ignored all of our practical advice, tune in at 9, please, to Consumer Credit Management. This is your public service announcement for this morning.
What I want to do is I would like to get to the point where I could make all of my grandkids something in my shop.
Well, why not?
Yeah, I know. I agreed. And that would be their present from Grandpa,
Well, why? Do you feel like you have to buy a ton of gifts? Like
no.
A ton?
Okay.
Come on, fess up.
We're getting down to where the rubber meets the road here. I have never felt obligated to buy a lot for anybody except, I guess, my own children.
Oh. Well, your grandchildren.
I don't buy very many presents. And I usually, when I send presents, I usually send money so they can get what they need.
Oy.
My wife has always taken care of buying presents for everybody else.
She's the person, but do you think, I wonder if Connie feels like obligated to buy several gifts,
Yes.
And that
Yes,
I don't
she does.
understand. Like, why?
However, things are changing this year, so she's kind of changing her attitude a
Why?
little bit
Because you're
too.
retiring?
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're on a fixed income. I don't know.
Exactly.
I think people should just really, I think it's so sad. I don't understand this.
Well, and I know how many times has it been said that we've forgotten the reason for the season. Now we're all wrapped up in how many presents we're getting people that we don't really care for and they don't really like us, but we feel obligated to get them a present, so we buy them something that they don't really need, and they're going to take it back afterwards and get something they want anyway. The whole gift-giving season has just gotten so totally out of control
I know,
that we
think
need
so.
to just stop and reset and start over again. And I know that the retailers rely on the holiday season to get them out of the red and into the black. And you know what? I feel for you, but I'm sorry about that. But we have lost the whole cotton picking meaning of Christmas. It's gimme, 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 and it's pay, pay, pay for everybody, including the cousins and the cousins and the 3 times removed and people you don't even know. You find out you're sending them a $50 gift card because, well, they're related to somebody. That's ridiculous.
I think they say the average amount of what people spend this year on Christmas is like $752.
Yeah, see, that's
I'm like,
$700
that's
too
outrageous.
much. That's $700 too much.
Well, it depends on how many's in your family, but you could
No, it
always
doesn't.
pick.
It's just
You could pick names. I mean, I don't know. I just think the materialism is crazy, and for anyone to go into debt, like severe debt, over this is insane.
I totally agree. This is no reason to go into debt.
No,
That's a very good way to put it.
That's what I say.
7360300. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was just going to let you know one fun thing we're doing for our family Christmas is instead of doing like a present exchange, we're actually making a dessert, and everybody's making a dessert, and then we're going to exchange that for Christmas.
Well, that's
Exchanging
interesting.
desserts. That sounds like fun. Can I be part of that?
Kelly would like that. Okay,
I can
so
bring a
Invited,
bag.
of course.
I can bring a bag of Oreos.
what are you making? What are you guys going to make?
I'm not sure yet. My wife's in charge of that, but
I
she always
see.
makes something good.
Very cool.
Well, that's interesting
Yeah,
too.
it is, and thank you very much. And in fact, we've kind of decided this year we're backing off. We'll take care of the kids, and that's about it. And my dad gives us a little money every year. I'm going to tell Dad, say, Dad, tell you what, just keep it, and our Christmas to you will be trying to just spend a little more time,
Yeah,
go to
visit,
lunch and stuff like
right.
that, because that's, on our deathbeds, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be sorry for, oh, I remember that one Christmas we didn't get the kids very much.
I should have bought more.
Yeah.
I don't think
It's
so.
going to be we should have spent more time with.
It's always
That's going
like
to
that,
be- yeah,
even with work,
yeah. Absolutely. 7360300. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kelly and Jill.
Hi, Kyle.
How's it going?
It's going. How are you
We're
doing?
getting closer to the season. Kelly, what's your favorite cake?
Ooh.
My favorite cake.
Can you name just one?
Oh, yeah. Can I name my top 10?
German chocolate.
Well, let me put it this way. I don't like anything with almonds in it.
Okay.
Or almond butter.
Anything else is pretty much open, but nothing with almonds.
Well, I used to be one of these people that got out of hand. My wife loved Christmas, and I loved my kids, and I spent $2,500 a year.
Oh.
It took the whole year to
No
pay
way.
it off. We've wised up. What my family does now is we make 14 batches of cookies, 14 dozen, and we put them on plates. And Christmas Eve, we go out to all our friends' house and give them a plate of cookies and sing them carols.
Well, that's
Well,
nice.
that's cool.
So,
I like chocolate chip cookies, by the way.
I'll remember
Kyle, you're
that.
getting an order. Do you realize this?
No, I plan on bringing you a cake before you told me.
Oh, wow. Well,
Okay, so name it, Cal. Which guy?
Oh, you know what? I like carrot cake. I like chocolate cake. I like cake. I mean, what can I say?
Cheesecake.
How about red
Cheesecake.
velvet?
You like
Red velvet? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just nothing with almonds.
And any cake is even better with milk on it. So, I can furnish the milk. If you furnish the cake, I'll eat it.
You guys can break and have a piece of cake together. There you go. Break
All
cake
right,
together.
We'll see you later.
Break cake.
All right, thanks for the call. Appreciate that.
All right. There you go.
Okay, well, anyway.
You're going to start to see, people are just going to be dropping food off, everything for you. Oh, here's my favorite treat. Here's my favorite recipe. And you'll eat anything except almonds.
Yeah, I know. And that's only because I can't.
And that's only
Not because
you
I don't like
did.
it. Yeah, because I like anything. That's been my problem all my life. I'm on a
Seafood
seafood diet. I see
know,
it and I eat it.
I know.
But that's just the way it is. We do have some news to report today, and some of it is not good.
It is not good.
2 young boys died in a trailer fire last night. Josh Palmer from the city says that there was a fire at the High Desert RV Park, killed 2 children, 3 young kids in the trailer at the time. A girl who was inside did escape. The 2 young boys were eventually removed from the trailer, taken to the hospital. They were pronounced dead. Names and ages have not been released just yet. So, it is tragic anytime.
Yeah.
But during this particular season, it's
I don't know
worse.
how
It's
you
even
go
worse.
on losing kids. I really don't.
I know.
My heart goes out to anyone who's lost anyone, but especially children. I don't know how you'll never be the same. When you lose anyone, but that's just so awful.
I know. So our prayers and thoughts going out to the family there. A new report says that Idaho could lose up to $111 million a year if the state takes control of its federal public lands.
Wow.
University of Idaho's Policy Analysis Group report was requested by a legislative committee. So, tell you what, we're going to talk about this a little bit if we have time with Steve Millington with the Twin Falls Republicans. So.
Saving this one for you, Steve.
There you go. You can read up now.
There you go.
So, all right. So we'll talk about that then. But
and does anyone know who Ken Weatherwax is?
I had no idea.
Did you have any idea what his name was?
No, not at all.
Okay, he was the child character who played Pugsley on the Addams Family. And that television series was in the 60s. He died at actually 59.
Yeah, young guy.
He had a heart attack.
3 years younger than me.
I know.
So,
I
watched that all the time, but very good.
Yep.
All right. So, anyway, I didn't realize his name was Pugsley.
Yeah, I knew that part. I didn't realize his name was Ken Weatherwax.
I didn't know either one.
No, I remember he was Pugsley.
If I saw a picture of him, I recognized him, but I didn't know either of his names. I don't know
Pugsley.
Any of them. I don't remember names very well.
I know. I have to remind you every morning.
So I'm Kelly Class, and I'll be back with What's Her Name here in just a minute on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. And the folks at Farmore of Idaho want to wish you a happy holiday season, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, all that kind of stuff.
Everything happy.
And
happy everything.
Yes. And to think ahead for next year's irrigation season, consider the Infrared Baron, where they do overflights of your field with infrared photography. When you see your fields from overhead with infrared photography, opens up a whole new world of information for you. You can see things that you can't see with the naked eye or regular photography, and you will see any changes or any maintenance or anything that needs to be done in your irrigation system. And they can fix that for you. 734-30, that's 324-3341 or farmoreofidaho.com. You ask them about Infrared Baron, and they can tell you about it because they are the experts.
That's right.
I just have to stop a minute. I was going to get into we got 3 new names for our schools, for our new schools coming up. But you mentioned something about...
What?
A fix for toenail fungus. Which caught my eye, my
Did
ear.
it? Your ear?
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about at the break about what even came up with that. Who
I don't know.
knows? Okay.
It just struck me.
Anyway, if you have toenail fungus, my mom, there's some pill out there, and it costs a fortune. I don't know if it's $900. It was ridiculous. I remember her complaining to me about it.
Well, and during the break, we were talking about that stuff that they're advertising for it now, that if you have toenail fungus, get this, it could cause, blindness and paralysis and bleeding out the eyes and the ears and the nose.
So toenail fungus might actually look okay.
Yeah.
I could live with toenail fungus.
Exactly.
But I think someone told her, I don't know if it was a nurse, whatever, whomever, if you literally put your foot in like Listerine, like just dunk your feet in Listerine, it should take care of it.
I wonder how long it'll take, because I know
No
toenail
idea.
fungus is
Try
hard
it.
to get rid of.
Well, it's probably like alcohol, and it just kind of burns it out, I guess. I don't know. So she
Interesting.
did, and she
Listerine.
was fine, and she saved
It
a
worked?
fortune. Yes, it did work.
That's amazing.
It's amazing what natural
try
products
it.
can do. Or
Yeah.
let's take a $900 pill. Whatever.
Or a $2 bottle of Listerine.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
No,
okay.
I remember. Okay, so now go on
All right,
to where we were.
moving on. We have new names for the new schools that are going to be built. The school board decided on them last night, apparently. There's a new elementary school going up in the northwest part of town at Grandview Drive and Federation Road. I know where Grandview is. I don't know where Federation Road is.
I don't either.
But anyway, it's going to be called Rock Creek Elementary School.
Okay. Genius.
What's this one? Oh, this one down the road here is Oregon Trail. Okay, never mind. But it's going to be closer to Rock Creek than Rock Creek Elementary is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one's Rock Creek Elementary.
Okay.
The East Side Elementary School, which will go up on Hankins Road, is going to be named Pillar Falls Elementary. I'm sorry, let me move up just a bit. The Raptors will be the mascot for Rock Creek. So it'll be the Rock Creek
Raptors.
The East Side Elementary School out at Hankin Roads will be Pillar Falls Elementary, and the Falcons are going to be the mascot.
Okay.
First of all, let me just say that whatever they want to name the schools is fine with me. And these are not bad names. I probably would not have chosen Pillar Falls. But
what do you think about the Kelly
but
Class
that's okay.
Elementary School?
Now you're talking, see?
Kelly Class.
Kelly Class Memorial Elementary School.
That's right. What could we say? I don't know. Cookies could be the mascot.
The Cookie Monster.
The Cookie Monster.
Okay, and then the new middle school, which is going out south of town, will be the South Hills Middle School.
Okay.
I think I could.
What's their mascot? They didn't name their mascot.
It doesn't say.
It's a hill.
South Hills Middle School. I don't know. Maybe it'll be the bunny rabbits. I don't know, because there's bunnies in the South Hills.
The Gophers.
Oh, maybe that is what it was, because
No,
I
I
did see
think
something about the coyotes.
they didn't do coyotes. That was voted down. Maybe
Okay.
they wanted to. I don't know. What about the Gophers? We have a lot of gophers in our yard.
Maybe the Rock Chucks. The
Or
South
Rock
Hills
Chuck
Rock
Chuck.
Chucks. I don't know.
Why didn't we enter the contest?
Voles, the South Hill Voles. I don't know. Could be a lot of things there. South Hills Middle School, hey, that's okay. I guess they had a contest going on for the last couple of
They
months.
did.
I didn't hear about it. I never knew about it. So
I thought we
Otherwise,
talked about it on the show.
I don't remember doing that.
Once the show's
And
over,
so I might
what
have put
did we
in
do
some
for 2
entries
hours?
that were a little different than it. But hey, you know what? I'm good with that. Whatever they want to name them, I don't have any ill
You just
feelings
have to live
towards
with it for the rest of your life.
Well, I don't have to live with it.
No, I mean the town, the schools, the kids,
Yeah.
South Hills
South Hills
Middle School. We don't know
I don't know.
Does anyone know the mascot here?
Somebody brought up about naming one of them after the
Bisbee, right?
Bisbee.
Yeah, Bisbee.
Bisbee, yeah.
And they
Who
said
took,
no.
The only reason that we have all the pictures of
I know.
days gone by, years gone by, is because of Mr. Clarence Bisbee.
Why did they vote that
photographer.
down?
I don't know. Good question.
Who
Anyway,
knows?
so
it's
now
kind of like
there you
the
go.
Buzz Langdon Visitor Center, wiped off the face of the map. We can't seem to name anything after someone and keep it like that. We'll just be generic. South Hills Middle School.
We'll be right back with what's his name? Steve
I don't
Millington
know.
with the Twin Falls Republicans. 7360300 is the number to call. I know we get these conversations going during the breaks,
and then we get nailed,
and we just can't seem to break away. But I tell you what, we do have Steve Millington with us from the Twin Falls Republicans, and so cue the maestro.
The Democrats' secular progressive move, political correctness is killing us too. They want to take the money from the hard-working man and give it to the lazy folks that don't give a damn. Democrats and liberals, shame on you. Don't punish us all, just to please a few. You're holding people back while we're picking up the slack, and that's why we can't vote for a Democrat. Oh, no.
All right, so hey, there you go. And if those who can view this video later on our KLIXcast can see Steve Millington actually somewhat dancing. So how are you, Steve?
How are you, Steve? We haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
Yes, I've been gone.
You have.
I
and we
missed you guys.
How did you?
We had Trip Craig last week, and he's always fun to have on.
Good deal.
So he does a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Before we kind of get into the list, I know Jill sent you the talking points on the other deal about the state going over and taking control of the federal lands to the tune, according to what the University of Idaho. It would cost
Policy Analysis Group.
$111 million a year.
That's the worst case scenario, I think.
Yeah, even half of that would be pretty bad.
It is a scenario, though.
Yeah. And they did come up with one. They had 9. They had 9 different scenarios. There was one of the scenarios that showed I want to say $25 million profit. The rest of them were to break even to the $111 million loss. Yeah. And that's interesting. But one of the difficulties with creating this kind of scenario is that all of the assumptions that you have to build into your analysis, they never cover all the points, both positive and negative. There could be, and probably would be, substantially more revenue than they are anticipating. There could also be more expenses than they have provided for. So these kinds of scenarios make interesting talking points, but when you tear them apart and start looking at them, you say to yourself, well, why didn't you consider this? And what about that? And did you think about this? And who's going to take care of that thing? And but look what we could do over here. Yeah. So it's just and it has resulted from a House Resolution 22, I think, that says we need to figure out how to, for the state of Idaho, to take control of all of the federal lands.
Now, so I understand that is not even constitutionally possible with the U.S. Constitution.
I've heard several arguments, both pro and con. The one strongest argument is that Idaho gave up all of its
rights to the land.
All of its claim to federal lands with the articles of statehood.
Right.
At the same time, there is a provision, although I have not read it, it has been passed on to me by many people, that the agreement way back in the 1800s was basically when territories become states in the United States of America, that the federal government would relinquish all control of all lands within those state boundaries.
Now, I've never seen that or heard that. So.
Well, I've heard it several times.
But that doesn't mean it's true.
And that worked really good until about 1880 or 1890 when we started getting Nevada and Utah and Idaho and Wyoming and Montana. Montana, not quite so much. They don't have a lot of federal lands there. Most of theirs is privately owned. But the core block of what we would call the Great Basin states, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, some Arizona, Wyoming, they got hammered big time when the federal government says we're not giving up any of those lands. They're going to remain federal properties. And so the real battle, you see, is comprised in about 5 or 6 states in this Intermountain West area. And some people say there's not a chance that we could legally get the lands back.
But there is a chance we could probably make a deal with the government and at least
manage them.
Yep. Right.
Now, Governor Otter proposed that a year or 18 months ago, that let's sit down with the Department of Interior, which supervises both BLM and forest, and work out a deal where we will manage those lands on behalf of the federal government and to the benefit of the state of Idaho.
But during his debate, he said we don't have enough money to do that. He was quoting like $200 million. He goes, we don't have the money to fight the fires. We don't have the money to do that. And so why are we doing that? If this estimate is $100 million a year, and in a few scenarios,
that would all be part of the agreement.
Net it out.
We sit down and we start talks, then who knows? Maybe the feds will still say, "Okay, we'll still pay for the." I mean, that could be all part of the agreement. We just don't know.
Why?
We really don't know where that would take.
Yeah.
And basically,
well, we'll be right back. We have Steve Millington with the Twin Falls Republicans. 7360300 was the number to call. Welcome back. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about the folks at Clearwater Power Equipment. They have chainsaws. They have leaf blowers. I don't know, probably by this time you might have all of your leaves raked up or you're waiting for spring. But I just want to say you can use a leaf blower for a lot of stuff. I use it to clean out my shop, my woodworking shop. Works great, And then as far as cutting that firewood, how about a new Husqvarna or Echo chainsaw from the folks at Clearwater Power Equipment? Because I wouldn't be surprised if a little later on in the year we're going to need some more firewood.
You really think so?
I think it's one of these days it's going to cool off and we're going to have a winter. So keep that in mind as you stop by and see the folks at Clearwater Power Equipment. They carry Husqvarna and Echo. They're at 252 Washington Street. The number is 734-7767. And by the way, if you still have your big lawnmower sitting out in the weather because you have no place to store it, get a hold of them. They have a storage plan that they can put you on.
That's right.
They'll even do pickup and delivery.
That's amazing.
Okay, so we have Steve Millington with us from the Twin Falls Republicans. We're talking about this idea of talking with the feds, with the Interior Department about starting to manage some of Idaho's lands. And I realize there are a lot of problems. There's a long way to go in this. But I still think it's worth sitting down and having the talk, don't you?
I do too. And basically, if you're buying a piece of real estate, you sign what's referred to as an earnest money agreement, and it doesn't define the exact final contract. It just lists the talking points, and you negotiate through each one of them. There may be many, there may be few, there may be none. But you just work through those talking points until you come to a satisfactory agreement, a contract.
Right.
Well, let's do the same thing with the feds. Governor Otter proposed let us take over some of these lands and manage them, okay, let's start from there.
Right.
And the points that we can agree on, we just cross them off the list and move to the next one, and eventually we end up with something that's agreeable to both parties, and we proceed forward. Now, it's one of the things that we need to understand that this article said gives you the implication, the inference that, oh my goodness, there's no way in the world it will ever work. Oh, woe is me. Throw your hands up and everybody walk away. The critics to the state management of the lands would like for that scenario, that conversation to be the most important. But I think what we need to do is discount that one and say, wait a minute, let's walk through this thing carefully and figure out what we really can do.
Yeah.
The amount of jobs that would be created, and they only address the issue here of timber management. Mm-hmm. They don't talk about other mineral resources, and there are a lot of opportunities for mining that can't be done because it's on federal lands. We could increase the amount of livestock on grazing. That would bring in considerably more revenues to the state.
Cut down on forest fires.
And more revenues into the state GDP, gross domestic product, because we'd have more goods and services that would be available for sale, for purchase. And so as you look at it, this is a single-dimensional analysis. And therefore, you have to look at it and say to yourself, wait a minute, I don't believe that really gets us where we need to be in this conversation. Yeah. So, okay, fine. Now we have the first shot's been fired. Let's continue to explore this thing until we come up with something that's a little bit more useful.
Yeah. You think that'll happen?
I got my doubts.
Really?
For one thing, at this point, we have to see some effort on the part of the federal side, the Department of Interior, to come back and say, okay, let's talk about this. And at this point, they have not responded with okay, let's sit down and have a talk. They just have said, oh, thank you, we'll put it in our to-do file.
But she is working. Sally Jewell is working with us on sage grouse, and she has been cooperative in those areas. So it's not like they're just ignoring us. They are working with us. They're really
not ignoring, but they're not making it as high a priority as perhaps we would like to see in the state of Idaho.
Yeah. Well, as with all things with the government, it might take a while.
Nothing works quickly there. It all takes a long time. But
we have no changes in the Idaho legislative leadership, apparently. So
is it Groundhog's Day all over again?
Yeah, we have this, and that's not really unusual. The big shuffle in leadership in the legislature occurred a couple of years ago. Yeah. And the House of Representatives elected Scott Bedke, and Lawrence Denny had to take a back seat for a while, and the leadership in the Senate has been the same now for, I think this is the third session that Brent Hill has been President Pro Tem. And so I think, okay, maybe this is the excitement of the changes from a couple of years ago are kind of settled out. Now we can get down to managing the business.
Do you see more? I know when we talked to the legislators during the campaign season, everybody wanted to give more money to education.
Yeah.
But do they want to give as much money to education as what it seems like the people of Idaho want them to?
That's going to be the interesting question, because there was a great deal of excitement. And when I say excitement, I'm not speaking in terms of either positive or negative, just a great deal of interest, is a better word perhaps, in education. We've got to fund more money for education. We should be doing this and we should be doing that, and how come he didn't do this thing, and what's wrong with that thing? And I think there's enough concern from the voters' standpoint that they are not going to turn a blind eye on the funding for education. I believe that they will watch this legislative session very carefully, and they will say to themselves, wait a minute, the governor come up with his 20-point plan, and it required $350 million over 5 years. And last year, you guys funded like $80 million worth. So this year, you got to do at least 80 additional or more just to keep that plan on track. And so where's that money get? They're not really interested in where's the money going to come from. What they're really interested in is make sure we get the money.
Yeah. See, and that's the conundrum, because the legislature has to be concerned where the money comes from.
That's exactly right.
So.
And no one has heard from the new superintendent of public instruction.
Yeah, that's
and she's dodging interviews. And okay, she was dicey enough during the elections.
I don't agree with that dodging. You're now an elected. You're now an elected official.
Oh yeah. Oh, that she's not.
You're now an elected official.
Yeah.
You'd better have your talking points on your 3x5 cards in your, well, in her case, in her purse. I would say in your pocket, but she may not have a pocket. So, okay, fine. Have them right there and have them available, and be prepared to visit and talk and answer questions.
Or her assistant, Tim Corder. He turned down interviews as well. I mean, the election was dicey enough. She knows that people weren't happy with actually her being elected. Why not come out and take lead?
Take the
Why don't
leadership
you sit
role
there and actually act like you deserve the job, and do points to assure people it's only the education of our kids.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. And I think is anyone talking to her?
I think there's 2 or 3 things that are going to happen in the education arena. One is this tenured licensure. And there used to be a 3-step plan. They've now cut it down to a 2-step plan, and that seems to be a lot more agreeable to the educators, the teaching profession. So it'll be interesting to see how well that goes through. Another thing that I think is going to be a really hot issue is the Common Core. There are a lot of people.
You haven't heard a thing about that since she's been elected.
There are a lot of people who are still very, very unhappy with the Common Core, and it's a process of administration, and they would like it thrown clear out, and let's start over with something different.
I was wondering about that. In fact, I asked Randy Staples about it, because early on there was a groundswell of opposition to it, and there are still people opposed to that.
Many
but
pockets.
You don't hear as much out of them now as we did, and as time goes on, the Common Core is becoming more implemented into the Idaho education system.
Yeah, it's been in there like 3 years. I mean, I've heard from teachers. I've heard from one who actually teach other teachers about it, and I've heard from 2 other that they really like it, and they don't want to go back, that it's teaching critical thinking, and they're really happy with it, and they see a dramatic difference with their students. I mean, some schools have been doing it 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah, it's not a brand new thing.
No, it's not.
It's 2 or 3 years old. And what we're hearing is a lot of the really interesting disagreements with Common Core issues, and they wish that this element could go away or that one could go away. And I agree with them. In many instances, some of the stuff that's included in this Common Core is just nonsensical. But what are you going to replace it with? I don't have a problem throwing it out. Just tell me, please, what are you going to replace it with? And then we can make a comparison between 2 good objectives and take the best out of both sides and come up with something that's more satisfactory.
Sometimes I wonder if we have gone to Japan and Korea and seen what they do when they have kids that are on top.
Their students are so great.
That are way ahead of ours.
And you hear foreign exchange students come in and say, these classes are so easy. I was learning this a couple years ago.
I did this in the 7th grade.
And that was a girl from Ukraine.
Yeah,
I did this in the 7th grade. What are you guys doing here?
Right.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
7360300, top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
On Common Core or any new system, has education improved over the last 30 years? There's no question in my mind, absolutely not. And there's still plenty of people that are upset about Common Core. The only difference now is the media is not drawing any attention to it because they found out that people don't think they're a bunch of quacks. There's a lot of people that don't like it.
So what are we going to
say a word about it?
What are we going to do to fix it?
Yeah, there's no alternative.
Just get rid of it and go. Here's what you do. 30 years back, just go to the 30-year-old, 40, 50 years back. Just take the curriculum from then and use it now. Unless there's some kind of science or something
right?
No, I'm not joking at all. Unless there's some kind of science that has changed.
Go back to where the United States was on top of the education pile.
People were smart. People did read. People did do all this stuff. You can't. Why change something that works unless they're after a new goal, which is I don't even know anymore.
Well, how can you explain why the 3rd graders in Idaho are at 50% the level of the 3rd graders in Massachusetts? This is how it started.
Do you want an answer to that, or are you just saying it?
No, I'm saying it because we are below. Why are we below? We can't even mandatory kindergarten.
If you've lived in Idaho for very long, you understand that there are thousands and thousands of kids that don't go through the whole school year. They're here immigrant workers. They're not stupid. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is they come here, they don't finish their education, they go back, they come back the next year, and it's just a perpetual thing. Any teacher you talk to will tell you the same thing. Having these standardized tests drag down the whole school, they need to throw out any grades that do not, of people that do not finish the whole year. And any teacher you talk to should tell you that.
I don't think that's the only reason.
He's got a point. My wife mentioned that quite a bit.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who come in and they will spend 2 or 3 months in the fall and then another 2 or 3 months in the spring.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that does not allow them to get the full range of academic achievement, and so they score poorly on the test.
And it was nothing for them to take off a month during the Christmas season and go back home and then come back.
Are you
later.
guys actually blaming it just on that? When we have 1 out of 12 kids,
that's got to be part of it.
It could be part, but when 1 out of 12 don't even finish college, I mean, these statistics. Are you kidding me? I don't know how anyone. When we have
1 in 12.
1 in 12.
You said 1. Doesn't
1 in 12 graduates college? You're proud of that? The fact that we don't have final exams taken in Twin Falls or Kimberly because they have perfect attendance? Are you kidding me? And you guys are proud of the school system?
That I don't get.
What is wrong with you people? Are you kidding me?
I don't get that one.
I thought it was a joke. That is happening in our school districts. Like, come on. That's local control. Come on. take a final exam so when you go to college, you know how to take final exams. My gosh.
Well, we got some issues in education, and I doubt we're going to get them all settled right now.
Not in the next 30
I
seconds,
don't think so. Steve,
not going to
thank
get there.
you.
Thank you, Steve. We'll see you next
Hey,
Tuesday.
you betcha.
All right. And coming up, we're going to find out about how to fix your credit, how to not wind up in monetary problems to begin with the Consumer Credit Management Services right here on Top Story. All right, and we're back. 7360300 was the number to call. And I almost forgot to flip the switches.
But you flipped them.
But I flipped them.
So you're still in there.
Just in the nick of time, so we're still on the air.
You're still hanging in there, Cal.
Every once in a while I forget to do that, and then we go dead, and, it just causes a whole... whole domino effect of things. So, at any rate, welcome back. It's like 33 right now, so it's kind of a chilly day today. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about spending money and credit. And with us today, we have Debbie Drown, who is the Executive Director of the Consumer Credit Management Services. We have Darla Brott and Aaron Regal, who are both on the Board of Directors. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
That's correct.
All right,
yes.
Very good, because I don't often get it right out of the chute. Okay, so first of all, tell us, what is the Consumer Credit Management Services? I know you've been around for a long, long time, and I think you help people repair the credit. But, that's kind of in a nutshell. So, Darla, what do you do?
Consumer Credit Counseling Service was established in Twin Falls in 1986 as a debt management program to help people consolidate debts and repay those creditors. After several years of doing that, we expanded into community education, which we provide free of service. The debt management side of the office supports the office. People come to us with any type debt that is unsecured. We can work with credit cards, we can work with medical, payday loans. We put them together a monthly budget, review their existing living expenses, set up something that is going to work for them. The creditors are normally repaid within about a 3-year period.
Oh my goodness, that takes a long time.
How much
debt would a 3-year period? I mean, really, that seems like a long time.
The amount of debt doesn't make the difference.
It doesn't.
That would establish the deposit they would have to make each month to repay. But the 3-year is probably just a good average.
Wow.
Well, I was thinking 3 years sounded fairly quickly,
It
because
did?
you can get upside down in credit cards that take you years and years to pay.
Oh, absolutely. And you get behind, and
Right.
they start adding an over-limit fee, they add a late fee, they raise your interest rates. It's nearly impossible.
So what do you think the biggest cause of this is?
A lot is medical.
Yeah.
There is no way to control it. I think that's probably, 75%, Deb?
Probably.
So can you work with the
75% medical that gets people in trouble?
Sure.
Well, the largest,
Wow.
accountability for bankruptcies is our
medical.
medical, and
Exactly.
that's part of the
Yeah.
problem
Yeah.
out here. So when you got to make sure you got to turn your head
Yeah.
and talk at the same time, the microphone. But when you have a medical bills like this, do you help negotiate with the hospital to lower the bills? Do you look at the bills? How does this work?
No, they don't lower. We try to get them to accept a reduced payment.
Okay.
So they get a consistent monthly payment.
Okay.
If the account has been turned to a collector, which sometimes happens, we repay through that collector. And we have a very good working relationship with those collection agencies. So that stops the legal process. They're not going to sue someone and garnish wages. They're going to accept our repayment program.
Okay.
And the credit card people, when we get the account on our program, they will then stop those fees, they reduce interest, and they quit collection process.
Okay.
Makes the debt more manageable.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It makes that debt more manageable.
Yeah,
for people
I
to
can
be able to
understand
repay
that.
it.
Because if you have more payments every month than you have income, and that can be a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course with medical it's sometimes ongoing.
Right.
So we can continue to add those additional accounts. People become overwhelmed. They have bills coming from
Oh, I
10,
know.
12 different
Yeah.
places, and they don't even know for sure what they owe or who they owe. And so through our program, we help them decipher all that, and we send the payment to that collector.
When should people come to you for help? Because it sounds like people can really like freak out. They don't know what they're doing. It's getting out of hand. Like, at what point should they say, I need help now?
When they start to get behind.
Okay.
Right.
Is that it?
Agreed?
Agreed.
And what if they say, well, I'm just making my minimum payments on my credit card, so I'll, pay for another 99 years.
Right.
Is that a sign too?
That is a sign. That is a sign, yes. Or if you're borrowing from one creditor to repay another.
Oh, okay.
That is a definite sign.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know on credit cards, if you, and I'm sure it relates to a lot of other stuff too, just paying the minimum payment every month, it can take you years to pay off. And that's the way it's designed, right?
That is exactly how it's designed.
Because the longer you pay, the more money the credit card company makes their interest.
Exactly. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
loving it.
Yeah. So if you can, what do you tell people when they come in? I mean, obviously there's got to be some education here, because it seems like nowadays a lot of people, it's very easy to get into trouble, and a lot of people, it appears to me, throw common sense out the door, and they don't have any idea where to start.
Well, we destroy the credit cards.
Well, I was going to
Yeah.
say, it's very
Yeah.
easy to get credit cards. They're pushing
Sure.
credit cards all the
Yeah.
time.
Sure.
If you open a credit card with us, you'll get 10% off for today's purchase.
And part
or
of
the
the
next.
agreement with
Yeah.
our program is that they do not incur any more debt
Yeah.
unless it's medical or car repair. So we
Right.
stop those credit cards.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we
So-
also have financial literacy classes that we
Yeah.
provide.
Okay. Now, are those free of charge?
They are free of charge.
No, with the credit card, you pay. We only take credit cards.
Yeah,
I'm
we
kidding.
They are free to the community. We actually teach approximately 70 financial literacy classes in this community a year.
And what is
No
it when you
kidding.
say financial literacy classes? What should people, what does that mean?
Okay. We actually have 3 different classes that we present. Class 1 is the importance of good credit, talks about credit reports, how to get a credit report, what's on a credit report, who looks at a credit report, how to improve your credit. That is class 1. Class 2 is identity theft and fraud, just some information how to protect yourself, what to do if you're a victim. And then class 3 is budgeting and successful debt repayment. And those classes, we are starting them in our brand new office. We did just move, and so in January we are going to be starting them.
Where's your brand new office?
It is at 459 Locust Street North, Suite 104.
So it's in the the office park there?
It's called the Spirit Plaza.
Kitty corner
Okay.
from the high school.
Okay, I'm totally
Oh,
lost,
on
but that's
Locust.
okay.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
people can find that.
Yeah,
or they can
yeah,
call
They
yeah.
can
and
call.
Okay.
They
you
can
plug it into your GPS. It'll take
There
you
you
right
go.
there. Right?
Yeah,
Sure.
or check our website out. But we are going to be offering those classes the second Thursday of every month, starting in January.
At what time?
It's 5:30.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's about an hour class. And then again, we do teach every week at Easter Seal Goodwill Working Solution.
Okay.
And we just rotate those 3 classes. And then we are available. We have done special classes for just different service providers in the community.
MCS.
Now-
And CSI also.
Have
Now-
you? Oh, go ahead.
Well, these classes, are they can just anybody go to them?
Yes.
Do you have to be in the program?
No.
Because it sounds to me like these would just be good education classes for people maybe
Yes.
who might not be in trouble, but maybe don't want to get there.
And should you send
So-
your high schoolers there? I mean, actually, I would think these would be good courses for kids in high school
Absolutely.
before they go to college, before you start incurring debt and getting
Right.
all these credit cards that they're trying to target.
The most
to
important thing is
kids.
teach them how to cut up the credit cards before they use them.
Well,
Or cut up the mail that they come in.
Exactly. That's right.
Shred credit.
Well, I
think it's okay to have a credit card, in emergencies if you know how to use it. I mean, if you pay off your balance every month, sometimes we need a credit card if we have an emergency.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to, right? But it's management of it.
The responsible use
Right.
of available credit is part of our mission statement. That's what we teach.
Because part of it is you can't get good credit if you don't have a credit card. If you're paying in cash for everything, you do not have good credit, which is ridiculous to me.
That's right.
You can't even rent a car.
Well, okay, you need a microphone, Darla.
Yeah, without a credit card,
Right.
you can't even rent a car.
Right,
You
exactly.
do need one with a small limit on
Yeah.
it for an emergency.
Yeah, so you can responsibly do it. So, have you had any success stories that you would like to share with someone who's come and anything like they had
Anything.
$100,000 in debt, they paid it off, and now they've turned their life around?
Well, yeah, that has happened, yes. We've been in business for over 28 years, and so there's lots and lots, there's thousands of success stories. I would say just yesterday, a voicemail that I received, someone said, "Thank you so much. I couldn't have made it through this crisis without you." And that's what we're all about. That's why we're here, is just to help people.
Well, and one of the really neat things, too, is that on average, just in the Magic Valley alone, through CCMS, we help 8 families a month become completely debt-free.
Wow, that's
in
awesome.
the Magic Valley. I mean, so that is
You sound like Dave
huge.
Ramsey.
Well, that's just huge for the community
Right,
in
it
itself,
is.
especially in these, the economic struggles that we've been going through for the last several years. That is huge for families to be able to be completely debt-free and they don't have to have those issues or the financial struggles that so many of us go through.
You sound like the area's best kept secret. Because there
Of
are
course
so many
we are.
people. Because you
That's
talk
why you're
to-
on the show, to tell people.
You
That's
talk
right.
to anybody who is in the business of selling stuff, and they have to have credit, like cars and things like that, and they will tell you that if they can get 1 out of 5 or 6 to qualify, that is a great day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means that 4 out of 5 people have bad credit.
Yeah. Well, and the sad thing is that when your credit score is lower, then you're paying those higher interest rates.
Yeah.
We've seen interest rates on vehicles with our clients and things that are paying 45% interest. There's no way to come out of that and be on top.
And do you think they're actually aware of that in their agreement? Here's your rate, and it's 40% interest.
I do. I think but at the same time, I think that they're so strapped, maybe financially, that it doesn't matter. They just need that vehicle.
If you need a car, you need a car.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so, unfortunately, those are the deals that are being made, and they're just hard to, payday loans. That's that's a whole other issue.
Aaron, what is the level for a good credit score? Above what number would be considered good, and under what bad? Because you hear that all the time.
Yeah, and those have changed over the last several years. So typically anything over a 700 is considered a good, not 100, sorry. Yeah,
700.
typically anything over a 7. Yeah, it
700.
used to be 750, but they've kind of lowered that to over 700.
So 700.
Because it was getting tougher to find people
Yeah.
with 750.
Yeah, you
How
bet.
many people you think have over 700?
We're talking to the ladies here today from the Consumer Credit Management Services, and when we come back, we're going to find out how people can get involved in the program and such. So stay tuned right here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. We are back. Yesterday's $100 instant winning name in the word of the day, which is brought to you by the Happy Landing Restaurant. And when you go to the Happy Landing Restaurant at the Twin Falls Airport, you don't have to go into debt, because their lunches are very reasonable.
That's right.
All right, and they're good. Most of them are like homemade.
Oh.
And if you go out there and you haven't been there yet, and you tell them that you heard it from Kelly and Jill, and you purchase a drink or a meal, they'll give you a free piece of homemade pie.
Nice.
Yes, indeed. So the Happy Landing Restaurant bringing you the word of the day today. Yesterday's winning name is Mark Deco.
Mark Deco, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day for today is Bose.
Bose.
B-O-W-S.
Oh, okay. Bose.
I don't know, bows or bows, I suppose. That's one
I was
thing about the
thinking of
English
I was
language.
thinking of the speakers.
Yeah. Oh, the B-O-S-E.
That's why I'm like, wait, what? Okay, Bose, B-O-W-S.
Yeah, so go to
Okay.
our website, newsradio1310.com, click on Word of the Day, type in Bose, BOWS, and listen tomorrow. And if you hear your name tomorrow and you played the word of the day today, you win $100.
That's how easy that is.
We are talking today to Debbie Drown, who is the Executive Director of the Consumer Credit Management Services, and also Darla Broad and Aaron Regal, who are on the Board of Directors. Now, this is a nonprofit organization, so you can get help with your debt, and it's just, what you said, a $30 a month maintenance fee, you said?
Correct.
Okay. To get you out of this cycle of paying out more than you can afford. Now, we are in, of course, the holiday season now, and it's easier for people to justify their overspending. Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Well, one of the things that we try to encourage people is, especially at this time of the year, you can go to just about any store and they offer a card.
I know.
And they want to say, hey, would you like to spend 5% or, 10% on your purchase with opening a credit card today? We really try to encourage people that, yes, it's great to have those savings, but if you don't have the cash to turn around and pay for that purchase right then, the interest on those cards usually is in the upwards of 20% or more. And that's what can really catch people and get them into trouble a little bit. And so you may have saved that 10% on your first purchase, but by the time you're paying the interest on that afterwards, if you haven't been able to pay that off within the first 30 days, it's going to cost you so much more than it would have if you would have just given them your debit card to begin with or pay them with cash. And so we always kind of caution people on just opening too many credit cards.
Well, doesn't that, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't your credit score based on how many credit cards you have, even if they have a zero balance?
Oh yeah, that is part of the formula in making up your credit score. And so absolutely. The lenders and the creditors also will take a look at how much credit you have applied for, even within a 12-month period. So if you're out just applying for credit cards all over and just hoping somebody's going to approve you for it, that's hitting your score and bringing that down every time you do that as well.
So every time they look into your credit, that's a deduction.
Yes.
Which doesn't even make sense. And what if you have open credit cards? I used to live in Boston because I heard that if you close credit cards, that's a problem. I mean, I still have credit cards from stores back there because I'm afraid to close them because I'm worried that it's going to affect my credit. But it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. What happens is it's not necessarily just the closing of the card, but you're closing your payment history. And so that's what shortens that time up. And that's part of, again, that magic formula that they come up with.
So I should keep them open.
Well, it depends on how long it's been since you've had to make a payment to it. I would think if it's been 20 years and you haven't made any payments for 19 years, I would think it would be safe to close them.
Well, and the other issue
is it
too
safe,
is that
Deb, or no, or do they still look at that?
Well, if you're not ever using it, they're probably going to close it anyway.
Right.
You'd be amazed. Neiman Marcus never closes your card. And I lived in Dallas years ago. They never close your card.
The one thing that you want to be careful with is because identity theft is the number one fastest growing crime in America. And so if we are someone that, if I have 30 credit cards out there that have just been sitting somewhere for the last 20 years, I am now opening myself up to become a little bit, more susceptible to be a victim of that.
Also, people are allowed to get free credit scores. Do you want to explain that? Because you get a lot of scams and emails saying for $10 or $20. So do you want to tell us which ones are actually legit? Because you should know your credit score. Right.
The authorized source is annualcreditreport.com. And you can go to annualcreditreport.com and you can get your credit report from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion once a year for free.
Those are kind of the three biggies.
Those are,
they?
yes.
Yeah.
And that is the authorized source for your free credit report, annualcreditreport.com.
And it's free.
It is free.
Do not pay for a credit report.
One time.
Right. Now your your credit score you do have to buy.
What do you mean?
Okay, your credit score is the 3-digit number like you had asked and what the score was. That you do usually have to buy. Your credit report is free.
So they don't tell you? I thought it came with it. Did it used to?
Normally you have to buy it. If you are going
with a credit card?
You're on a secured site at that point.
What is going on here?
I know. I've gone online.
You can't live without a credit card.
And haven't paid, and I think it was Credit Karma or something like that. But it's been a while back, and a lot of things used to be free on the internet that are no longer free. But so anyway, well, we'll come back and continue talking about this credit thing on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back, and I just wanted to mention, we haven't talked about the low and honey loader yet today. And the low and honey loader isn't for everybody. I mean, you kind of got to have a big animal confinement operation in order to justify a low and honey loader. But if you have one of those and you don't have a low and honey loader, then you could be asking for trouble, because they'll load any types of manure from liquid to frozen and dry, you name it, they've got it taken care of. And Pat Hartzell is the guy with Stanley & Company who can set you up to where you can make an appointment with one of these feedlots that has one. You can show up there and you can see the low and honey loader in operation. Now, not only is it interesting and educational, it's also fun, because I like to watch, big pieces of equipment work. I can go out to a construction site and I can just watch those bulldozers push that dirt around all day long.
And guess what? You'll have a lot of time to do
I
that
will.
as of January 1st.
I'm going to get me
Just have Kelly sit at a construction
Tonka
site
toy
and watch
bulldozer
you.
and dump truck, and I'm going to play out in my dirt
Now you'll know where he
my
is.
dirt playground and have a good time. But Pat Hartzell is the guy for the low and honey loader, 280-1167. That is his own personal cell phone number, and he can help you out. I just learned something by talking to the ladies during the break. So when you go online to get a free credit report, that is the credit report only. That is not the ever meaningful 3-digit number of what your credit actually is. You have to pay for that.
Correct. Right.
And you go to myfico.com, is that it?
That is one of the places, yes.
One of the places, so they can get their credit score that way.
Right.
But you can't get it from annualcreditreport.com.
What you do is you can go on, and when you're actually getting those reports, they each, like Equifax, will have a place where you can buy your score.
Okay.
Or TransUnion.
Well, that just doesn't seem right. You have to pay to get to see what your credit score is.
The credit card.
Yeah.
But FICO, now, do they just combine the three? Like, how do you know? Is that a combined score? Because if you're going to Experian or Trans, whatever, and the other one, you could have 3 different scores.
Right, but they're still comparable to each other.
You hope, right?
If you have one that's way off, if that's kind of a red flag too. If say you're consistent with, say, Experian and Equifax, and you have a 700, and then you go to TransUnion and you have a 500, you really want to take a look at that report and see what's going on, because different creditors are going to report differently. And so that could mean that maybe your identity has been compromised, somebody's gotten it, you know what I mean? So they should all be within kind of the same ballpark. But if there's one that's just completely off, that's one that you really want to investigate.
So where does FICO get their number? Is it combined by those 3? Like that? Yeah. It's those 3 agencies.
That's the most popular score.
Okay, all right. Okay, great.
Now, another thing I learned is that you can be a deadbeat, but that's a good thing. So if you have credit cards and you pay them off every month, you are considered by that financial institution to be a deadbeat.
Yes, because they're not making any money.
Okay, all right.
I mean, it's so sad because it's almost like, they entice you to get credit, and then when you're in over your head, well, now you're in trouble. But you know what? You've enticed me. You said I can afford it. You say I can do this. It's like craziness, isn't it?
Yeah,
and then if you pay it off, oh, you're a deadbeat. I'm a deadbeat. Are you kidding me?
But it is kind of the society that we live. I mean, it just kind of is. It's that instant. We want it now. We don't want to wait for it. It's a different mindset. It's it's these generations that are coming up that want that instant right now. We don't want to wait for it. So what if we can't
afford it? It's not the American way to let that stop you.
But then you have the older people who are only paying in cash, and their credit's bad because they only pay in cash. I mean, this is insanity. Really, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. But with the holiday season right now, how many people have come to you that have just lost their minds because it's Christmas and I have to buy, everyone something, and then in January they're freaking out. Please say something that will stop the person right now listening to this who's on the way to the mall. Talk some sense into him right now. Something. Deb, Aaron, Darla, something.
Put the cards down.
I mean, really.
Step away from the cards.
Should you make a budget for Christmas?
Yes. Absolutely.
What can do to help these people?
Absolutely. You should make a budget for Christmas, and just remember that sometimes less is more. And
Yeah.
really the reason for the season is our families and, the celebration of Christmas and what that's all about. And so at the end of the day, the presents are unwrapped and the kids,
Playing with the boxes.
they're playing with the boxes.
Right.
Yes, the babies play with the boxes.
We got a caller. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Short of paying cash for a house, what would you recommend to those oddballs that don't want credit at all?
Oh, to stay off the
other
grid?
than to buy a house. Well, no, just because it's stupid. It really is dumb to pay money to spend money.
We agree with you.
So what do you do if you want to purchase a house but don't want to get into debt or have credit cards?
Or a car.
Of course, a waste of money. It's a terrible investment.
Well, I mean, you need one to get around.
Right.
We all
buy
need
one
cars.
cash. It's easy.
Right.
Well, yeah, probably
It's easy
just
to say, but
if you want to buy a house, save up for it and pay
Right.
cash.
That would be
and you
if
don't
you don't
have
want
to have
credit.
you don't have to start with a mansion.
Right.
So many kids graduate from school, they get married, they have a kid, then they get married, and then they got to have a $250,000 home. I've never understood that. We've
Well-
been perfectly happy with our little tent out in City Park for so long. We'll be right back here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. We are talking to Debbie Drown, who is the Executive Director of the Consumer Credit Management Services of Twin Falls. We have Darla Brott and Aaron Regal, who are on the board of directors. And I tell you what, just the amount of time that we have talked here this morning, I think is a huge education for me and for a lot of people listening. One of the things that we want to emphasize is that you can't really easily go through life without incurring some sort of credit, because it can eventually come back to bite you. So, in other words,
well, Debbie
get
told us
it.
an example.
Yeah, give us that
Give that
example.
example.
That was a great example.
Sure. In teaching a class, I came upon a couple that had paid cash for several years. They were renting at the time, and they just lived on cash. And they were in a point in their life that they wanted to buy a house after just paying cash for several years, about 10 years.
And you said they were in their 50s.
They were in their 50s, and they could not buy a house because they had no credit history.
I mean, that's a part. I mean, that's like, does that even make sense? Does it make sense
So-
that you've been responsible, paid
Right.
in cash, and now you have bad
They
credit?
would be your best credit risk. Probably right there, I would think.
Sure. But as someone that wants to loan them credit, there's no
history of
There's
them
no
paying
proof.
They
back.
don't know
Yeah.
that they're a good risk because
Right,
there is no
right.
history. They can't tell how they've paid their debts because there's no history that shows that they're responsible with credit.
So it's not so much stay away from credit cards, stay away from credit. It's the responsible use of it.
Correct.
That's the key right there.
And it can be a cycle. We were talking about that. You have medical bills, say you just lost your job, your hours are cut, whatever. A lot of people, you have to get gas in the car to get to your, maybe your part-time job. Your kids are hungry. Any of us would do those things. And it's not just like being irresponsible and being a shopaholic. It's just trying to survive.
Correct.
And this state does not have the highest wages. I'm sorry. I think we dropped to 46. So, anyone would do that. And then you're in trouble. It's tough.
We got a caller. Top Story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to give you my experience. I thought I was a good manager of money, and I have like 3 or 4 credit cards. My total debt now has creeped up to around $8,000, and it sneaks up on you.
Yeah, you're talking about your credit card. All of a sudden, you got $8,000 debt and you didn't realize it.
One little aspect that I don't think you mentioned on the show yet is I'm busy paying a credit card every month. I'm paying debts on the credit card. I can't afford to buy anything cash to speak of, so I have to use my credit card even more. And so it's just a vicious cycle.
No, that's what
It's
we
a
were just talking
snowball
about.
effect.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
Come see us.
What advice?
Come see us. We want to help you.
What's your phone number? We haven't given that out much for people to call.
It is 733-2227.
Okay.
We do have a website, CCMS, the number 4, the letter U.net.
ccms4u.net.
Correct.
And you guys are located
459 Locust Street North, Suite 104. It's in the Spirit Plaza.
Now, you do go around to various organizations and give workshops and seminars?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
they can just contact you. And so what does that entail? Is it like a 1-hour deal, or is it a series, or is it kind of whatever they want?
We can do whatever. Yes, we can do whatever. I've actually taken all 3 of the classes and made an hour class or a 2-hour class, or I've
Half-hour
class.
Whatever they need, right?
We can do whatever. Yeah, we're available. We're
And again,
happy
you're
to teach.
a nonprofit.
Correct.
Okay, so you're out there to help people.
We are out here to help people.
Okay, if you were to give a 1-hour class and somebody wanted to have you come, what would be taught during that 1 hour?
Well, it would depend on what they had wanted. If they wanted the importance of good credit, then I would just teach about the credit report and how to pull it, what's on it, corrections, how to dispute an item on a credit report. There is a lot of errors. Typically, there is an error on your credit report.
Kind of like a hospital bill.
and that's hard to do, right, Deb?
No, it's not hard to do.
It's not hard?
No, you can go online, and you can, even when you go to annual credit report and you pull that credit report up, you see an item on there. Let's say you have a JCPenney's card that's showing, and you've never had a JCPenney's card. You know it's not yours. You can dispute the item right there.
Has it been
do it online?
Do they rectify it?
By law, they have to investigate if they don't consider it a frivolous request. That is Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. So they do have to investigate
within 30 days.
Within 30 days.
And the chances of it getting off are good?
It is good if they, and especially if they cannot prove that there was that you had that card, then yes, they do have to take it off. Now, sometimes you do have to use a little bit of perseverance and do it again, but it's real important to get all those errors off.
Well, ladies, we are out of time. It's been really fun talking
Thank
to you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for having us.
Thank you.
And it's time now for the Huckabee Report, brought to you by Waddell & Reed. And you can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell & Reed. Laura Nelson, Josh Funk, and Steve Stanger are the financial advisors, and the number is 736-6563. And don't forget, the folks at Canyon Pond would like you to come down today and see them. If you can't make it today, well, that's okay, but there's always tomorrow, all right? And they've got all sorts of guns, and they've got gold, and they've got probably some silver there. They've got some rings. They've got jewelry. They've got watches. They've got stuff that you find in a pawn shop. And it's a nice, clean store. Twin Falls' newest pawn shop. So if you need to pawn something so you can afford some Christmas this year, take it on down to them. See what they'll give you for it. And that's at the Canyon Pond, yes?
And pay cash.
And pay cash. That's right. That's right.
Please pay cash and use your credit cards responsibly.
Yes, indeed. And they are on Shoshone Street, right across from Will's Toyota. They'd love to have you stop by.
I'm going to give out their number again. Consumer Credit Counseling of Twin Falls, 733-2227. 733-2227. The internet is ccms4, the number 4, and then letter u.net. So
ccms4u.
Yes, .net.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're spiraling into something, which can easily happen, please call these ladies. They can help you. They can help negotiate on your behalf. They can do a lot of things.
And I tell you, when you start getting into trouble and thinking that credit card is free money. Because that is anything but, man. That'll get you in trouble.
It's not free money, but it's a lifeline. If you've lost your job, if you're living on, it's your lifeline. You need gas, you need food. What else do you do? And then you're in trouble. So it's not just irresponsible spending. Sometimes it's just survival spending, but they can help you with that.
Yeah, that is true.
And it happens all the time.
You know, right now we're having a Christmas pet photo contest on our website at newsradio1310.com. You just submit a photo of your pet with in some sort of a Christmas outfit, because I know, like my wife, everybody likes to dress up their pets to look like Christmas. Well, you could win from Valley View Veterinary Clinic their pet costume contest, grand prize of an Xbox 360. So, hey, it might be a present you won't have to buy just by submitting your pet in Christmas garb.
I know.
Find out all about it at newsradio1310.com. There's a little link you can click on there for the Christmas pet photo contest, and just have fun and look at others that have been submitted too. It's a lot of fun.
Someone showed me the picture they took of their dog for Santa. I go, you have to submit it. You have to submit it to our contest.
Yes, do.
People are doing that all the time. I think at the mall they're doing Santa with the pets. Send it in.
There you go. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We'll have the State of the City tomorrow.
We have Rebecca Milsoika tomorrow, and we have Johnny Yu. He's got a veterans program.
All right.
Nonprofit.
So
veteran
we'll
program.
see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Goodbye, Jill.
Bye, Cal.